Hello there, my name's Thomas Regan. I'm a professional property investor here in Australia. Now, I'm doing a series right now on why apartment high rises are a good investment for me as an investor and why I'm buying multiple at this point in time. Now, I've been investing in apartments for 6 years now, 4 years. I've been investing for 6 years and investing in apartments for about 4 years. And believe it or not, the best performing properties in my portfolio are apartments, and they performed so well for me that it is totally uncomparable to the best house that anyone has ever told me about in terms of capital growth. Now, what I like to do to continue my belief and reinforce my beliefs of why apartments are good investments is I like to do a lot of research on apartments. Now, whatever you choose to invest in, it doesn't really matter. As long as you have a deep understanding in it, you will be able to make a lot of money. Now, I obviously like investing in property, so I do everything I can to understand it as much as possible. Now, the first piece of my series is basically going to be 100 years of a high-rise apartment history. Now, I'm just going to hit a little point on it, right? Sorry, it's a nice topic, right? But the fact is, high-rise apartments or strata titled high-rise apartments weren't a thing in Australia until 1961. So it's not quite 100 years, but it's enough time to, show that high-rise apartments do grow, contrary to whatever the mainstream media says. Now, what would happen if you bought a high-rise apartment in 1961 when the first high-rise apartments were being built in Sydney? Let's use an example of an actual high-rise apartment in Sydney that is actually built and was built during that time. It's still standing, I mean. Blue Point Tower, Sydney, okay? This high-rise apartment was built around the 60s, and you could purchase one of these one-bedroom apartments for anywhere from £3,500 to a little bit more than that. But that equates to about $7,000. Now, if you own one of those apartments and you bought them for $7,000 in that time, and you still own it today, do you think it would be a good investment? Do you think it would go up in value? Do you think there's any apartments in Sydney anywhere that you can get for $7,000 today? No, you can't. So effectively, it is a good investment, right? People buy high-rise apartments today, and if you look at a high-rise apartment over a 10-year time span, it looks like they get no growth, but you need to dive in deeper. You need to understand the fundamentals of investing, why these situations are happening. I'm not going to get into it today, but the bottom line is you could have bought a brand new high-rise apartment in the 1960s for $7,000, and just so you guys are aware, that was almost the same price as a 3-bedroom house on the Northern Beaches at the time. Maybe it was about half the value, or maybe it was about the same price. It's hard to get that data, but that's and just so you know, that those houses now are worth $2.4 million in the Northern Beaches that were relatively the same price. So at a snapshot, you would think that what's the better investment from just taking that snapshot of it? You'd think it's obviously the house, right? Yeah, but if you are a professional investor, what you're more concerned with is this method of investing scalable? Can I use the velocity of money, can I make multiple transactions happen within a short period of time to build the largest asset base in a small period of time as possible, rather than wait a very long time for capital growth to happen? And what I mean by that is today, I could buy 13 apartments, one-bedroom apartments, for the same price as I could a 3-bedroom house in the Northern Beaches. 3-bedroom house would be worth $2.4 million. I need about 600 grand to get into that. and I would be negative cash flow about $1,000 a week. Versus if I bought 13 apartments today, I would be cash flow neutral. I would have a larger asset base. I would have more leverage. Obviously, I would be using less money to get into the deal, but it would cost me less money today, and it would use the same amount of capital. Now, what would you think would be better? Getting 13 apartments and holding them for 100 years, or getting one house and holding it for 100 years? Well, I think it would be the apartments. Why? Because the cash flow stream you would get from the apartments would be maybe 4 times the size. Maybe twice the size at least, maybe 4 times the size, right? But what about capital growth? Well, if we use this example I was using of this Blue Point Apartments, the cheapest Blue Point apartment in Blue Point Tower, Sydney, today is around $800,000. So if you had 13 of these high-rise apartments, your asset value, your asset base would be about $11 million, right? What would it be if you just bought one house on the Northern Beaches? The one house would be now worth $2.4 million. So again, what's the better investment? You gotta understand it from an investment lens, and you gotta think about it through investment principles. Okay, they are cash flow, capital growth, and below replacement cost. Those are some of the investment principles that you should very thoroughly understand when you choose to invest.